And you are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants will be taking on the 0-16 Washington Commanders. And why are the Washington Commanders 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really means the world to me. Or if anybody's going to spend any time at all watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, as I usually do. Try to shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say at all, please feel free. Fire away. Throw it in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So anybody got anything to say, just throw it away. Fire away in the chat box. As soon as I see it, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So plus, it's also sometimes it's just nice to hold the conversation with somebody else, too, instead of me just rambling on and on and on and on. So please feel free, fire away, throw in the chat box. Before I get started, anybody wants to help support my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me. Now, in the description box below, there's a top link. It takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, the second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third membership level is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. There's loyalty badges. There's 8 loyalty badges. Each loyalty badge is a different Giants helmet. Now, the older the Giants helmet is that's associated with your name, the longer you've been a supporter of my channel. If you get the leather helmet associated with your name, all right, on my channel, it means you've been a supporter of my channel for a long time. There's 4 emojis. Eventually, there will be a 5th emoji coming out, but right now there's 4. I had these things made up on Fiverr. They crack me up every time I look at them. You can use them, obviously, in the chat box if you're making a comment or anything like that. As I said, eventually there'll be a 5th emoji coming out, but right now there's 4 of them. So if you want to help support my channel, once again, it would mean the absolute world to me. And if you subscribe to my channel, thank you so much. If you're not, please go down, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? Right now, I got 6,479 subscribers. What the hell did I start the day with here? 6,451. So I've gone up 28 subscribers. Ever since the season's been over with, I'm going up like about 30 or 40 subscribers every day. It's really absolutely freaking phenomenal. It was right at the beginning of February. I hit the 5,000 subscriber mark. And it was just, I never thought in my wildest dreams that, this channel, I'd actually have 5,000 subscribers. Well, by tomorrow, I'm going to have 6,500 subscribers, and I'm well on my way to, within another, 2 weeks, I'll have probably about 7,000 subscribers. Absolutely crazy. I'm going up 30 or 40 subscribers every day. It's absolutely phenomenal. So I said, so if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. But if you're not, what do you got to lose? I said, go down, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. I said, that way, next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And I said, it's free of charge, right? Then finally, in the description box, there's 2 links. There's 2 Facebook links. The top one takes you to my Facebook group. My YouTube channel, my Facebook group, and the Facebook page, it's all called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Why? Simple, because a moron like me I can remember it. I don't have to start remembering all different passwords and different names and this. It's all the same. Okay, so my Facebook group is called New York Giants, the Gridiron. Right now, we have over 2,500 members in the group. Okay, so every day, it's 7 days a week. I'm putting stuff in there. I try to put at least 10 different items in here every day, whether it's a video, a post, a picture. There's a picture of Carl Banks in here. There's something else making fun of the Cowboys. Something about Odell Beckham Jr. Of course, and there's something about Daniel Jones with his contract extension. There's something making fun of Carson Wentz. There's sexy Dexter Lawrence. The Giants and Dexter Lawrence have talked long-term extension, which I'm going to go into that in a minute. There's another thing called Guess the Player. they give you a couple clues or some hints, and you got to guess who the player is. That one's pretty easy. It's Eli Manning. But there's all kinds of stuff in there every day. And if you become a member, not only do I put stuff in the group, but the members put stuff in there as well, too. So there's a ton of New York Giants information going in there every day into the group. Now, if you go to the second, Facebook link, it takes you to my page. Once again, it's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron, right? But it's a page. There's 687 people who like it, and we're over 3,300 people following it, okay? Now, I'm the administrator, so I'm the only one who posts in here, but it's the same thing. Every day, I'm putting at least 10 different items in here every day, all right? Let's see here. What do I got? I got something I showed. It was a 2004 Bowman card. Jared Lorenzen, the hefty lefty. All right. Then there's a picture of Andrew Thomas. I guess actually, it's a picture of him. It looks like Minnesota. Maybe it's the playoff game. And then there's a picture of him also at his scouting combine. It shows the faces, right? Same thing with Leo the Lion. It shows a picture of him at his scouting combine, and also a picture of him this past season with the Giants. What they look like. See here. There's something about Trenton Simpson. Could he be a Giant? Maybe in the first round, but they maybe pick him up. Let's see. And then we got Luke Weipler, the center from Ohio State. All right, he might be a day 2 pick. Maybe something the Giants might be looking at in day 2. There's a picture of Coach Dable at the scouting combine. He's got a baseball cap on. There's all kinds of stuff going in there every day. So between the Facebook group and the Facebook page, between the two of them, there's a ton of New York Giants information every day going in here. So go to the page, like it and follow it, go to the group and become a member. As I said, between the both of them, you get a ton of New York Giants information every day. And I said all the other time, if you're not satisfied, you get your money back. Guaranteed, right? Now, one of the things, with the Giants being, so bad for so long, right? You get a lot of these top picks, and one of the reasons it's really, really important for them to hit on these picks, and hopefully some of these guys that come back from the injured list, because remember, basically half of our draft class wound up on injury reserve, like last year. Only the Giants, right? I mean, hopefully, Davidson, Zudu, McKeithen, Beavers, and Wando Robinson, hopefully they'll come back and can produce, for the Giants. Now, the Giants also, had one of the, I forgot what they were, the 4th highest, I think, if I read correctly. They also helped because they had a lot of draft picks, but I think they were the 4th highest games played or games started. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but out of their rookie class. Okay, so the Giants got a lot of production out of the rookie class, and that, I mean, right, half of the rookie class went up on injured reserve. Okay, but I mean, out of the rookie class, they got a lot of them started, a lot of games started. Obviously, a lot of games missed due to injuries, but to be 9-7, and get that much production, I mean, it's almost kind of reminds you a little bit like of the 2007 draft class, right? With Jerry Reese, that 2007, his first draft class. I mean, he kind of, he did a very, very good job there. I mean, almost all of them. I think there's one guy that didn't do anything, but I mean, almost all the draft guys he drafted in 2007 produced, right, for the Giants, and they won the Super Bowl. But I'm saying, what Shane did, we very, very, drafting high caliber guy, a lot of the team captains, right? So they did very, very, very good. Now, this will be Shane, kind of like Shane kind of took the job And he was kind of like, going to the scout and combine and all that. Hey, how you doing? Shaking. Oh, you work for the Giants? Yeah. Hey, how you doing? I'm the general man. Nice to meet you. So, I mean, it was like a lot of guys he didn't know who they were, hadn't met him before, so now he has a year under his belt. Okay. So now he's got has a firmer grasp on obviously who's working underneath him, but, the direction he wants the guys to take or to follow as far as gathering their information, what kind of information we're looking for, and so on. So I would, and the Giants get 2 compensatory picks, which they're supposed to, right? That would give the Giants another 11 picks. Okay. So if Shane can do, what he did like last year, right? I think we be very, very, would be very, very huge, because you got to have those guys, those lower tier guys that produce, that don't cost a lot of money. You got to have that. Now, I mean, I said between last year and this year, between the amount of picks that the Giants have between last year and this year, that's basically almost a full football team, offense and defense. Okay. So it's very, very important for the Giants to hit on a lot of these draft picks. Now, the one they was talking about is that why the Giants were obviously been so bad for so long. They drafted so low, right? I mean, you got Andrew Thomas, pick number 4. Sexy Dexy, I think, was 17. Daniel Jones is number 6. Saquon's number 2. Right. Obviously Xavier McKinney, got him in the second round. Of course, then you got, Kayvon at number 5. Then you got Evan Neal at number 7. Azeez Ojulari, if he can stay healthy, right, in the second round. If Azeez Ojulari did not have, like some shadow or clouds over him about maybe his health, he would have been a first round pick. I mean, as you can see, the talent is there with Azeez. It just, the guy just can't stay healthy. I mean, yeah. Right. So, but one of the things is picking all these high draft picks and, hitting on them. Right. I mean, let's be true here. I mean, Kayvon had a very, very, I love the guy's attitude. The guy, I didn't really see much, the guy was out there hustling. Okay. Guy hustled. The guy got held. Okay. He might have only had 4 sacks, but the guy got held a hell of a lot. Maybe in his second year, maybe the flags will start going his way. Who knows? But he had a solid season, very solid season. Evan Neal struggled. Yep. Yes, he did. Now, can it possibly wind up being, like Andrew Thomas, where in the second and third season, he just keeps getting a little bit better, a little bit better? Yep, absolutely. They can always slide him into guard if absolute worst comes absolute worst. But I'm certainly not going to call him a bust, by any stretch of the imagination. He certainly struggled this year. Maybe, as I said, hopefully second year he'll take a little step forward, right? But some of also we're going to want to wait and see what Daniel Jones has got going on with his contract. Are they going to will they be able to work anything out? Because if they have to put the franchise tag, the non-exclusive franchise tag on him, I don't know if they'll be signing. They might have to let Saquon go. It's one nice thing to try to get your money and this, that, and the other thing, and blah 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 blah, all that stuff, and your agents, yeah, we can get this much, and talking in his ear, yeah, you're worth that much, huh? Well, that's great, it's all fun and fancy, but the more hardball you play, what I'm saying, because it's like, if they can work something out with Daniel Jones, they're going to throw the franchise tag on Saquon, thus hopefully keeping both of them. Okay. Daniel Jones wants to stamp his feet and, I want more money, this, that, and the other thing, right? And they can't iron anything out. Well, he might wind up losing Saquon. So you got to start, I guess some of the guys just don't look at it that way. It's just, I want as much as I can get. And it's, no, I don't want 43. I want 45. It's like, really, I guess in a way I get it, but in a way I don't get it. $43 million, that's a lot of money. $45 million, that's a lot of money. $41 million, that's a lot. It's a lot of money. And it's just not 1 year. I mean, we're talking, it's just not one and done. You know what I'm saying? Now you're talking, possibly $40 million for quite a few years. I mean, that's a lot of freaking money, So unfortunately, if they more hardball replace it, they can't iron anything out, then they can't sign Saquon or put the tag on Saquon. They might wind up losing him, But anyway, the one thing I said is that the Giants being so bad for so long, is that they gotten all these picks. Now, as I said, they've done well. I mean, obviously, a lot of people wanted to kill Dave Gettleman for picking Daniel Jones. Obviously, the DeAndre Baker didn't work out very well. But besides that, Sexy Dexy, dude's a monster, right? Monster. He's like Godzilla. But I said a lot of people wanted to kill Gettleman for Daniel Jones. Looks like it wound up being a decent pick right now, pick 6, right? For some people out there, the Daniel, if we won the next 312 Super Bowls with Daniel Jones, our quarterback, there's some fans out there be like, nah, get rid of Daniel Jones. So there's nothing you can do. There's some people, it doesn't matter. If Daniel Jones went the whole season, he completed 999 passes out of 1,000. The Daniel Jones haters would be like, dude, he had an incomplete pass. I mean, the man's trash. So. But, I mean, it's looking like a decent pick. Saquon, of course, special talent now. So we've taken a running back at pick number 2. I wouldn't have. But, but special talent. But, picking that high all the time, you're picking special players, right? And when the special players, hopefully work out, which they have, right? I mean, we're out of the Jerry Reese, Eli Apple, pick number 10, Eric Flowers, pick number 9, out of that era. We had the 2 top 10 picks that were total. I can't say total bust. They wound up having careers in the NFL, but top 10 picks, you got to be kidding me. So, but but when it's time for their contracts to come up and it's time to start paying the piper, this is where it starts getting expensive. And this is where you got to start, filling in the rest of the roster with these draft picks, right? As I said, the draft picks we had last year, the draft picks we have this year, I said, then, you figure if we have, say, 7 picks next year, right, between Shane's first year, Shane's second year, which would be this year, like, say, 7 picks or so next year, that's like 30 picks, right, the Giants will have in 3 years. It's so important, to hit on these guys that can be contributors. They don't have to be Hall of Famers or anything like that, but they have to be contributors. They have to log time on the field, right? And they have to be affordable. They have to be cheap. That's why you got to hit on a lot of these later round picks. That's why I'm very, very, very anxious to see what Beavers does. He had a very good training camp. Then he got injured. Missed the whole season. But the one nice thing about him getting injured early, is that brings the capability, the possibility of him coming back early next. So hopefully by training camp this coming season, he should be good to go. Hopefully. I haven't heard anything from him. I also believe, I think he I don't know if he was training or rehabbing or whatever on his own or exactly what it was, but he kind of disappeared from I don't know, from the Giants, the training room and all that. So I haven't heard anything on how anything's going, but hopefully everything goes okay. But if you start looking, I mean, say Daniel Jones wants, say, $40 million. All right, say he winds up settling on, say Giants want to give him 35, he wants 45, say they settle on 40, Then they franchise tag Saquon Barkley, They don't want to keep franchise tagging him, but just say they sign him for, say, $10 million, right? So between Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley, there's like $50 million. Now, I realize a lot of these guys, they're going to get signed at different times and all their salaries aren't going to be, at the same time, I get that and all and everything. But, one of the problems the Giants have had, from picking low is when these guys want to get paid, it's going to start costing you. Either that or you're going to have to start letting your really good ball players walk, right? And the Giants don't want to do that. All right, so I said, so if you got like $50 million between Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, right? $40 million for Daniel, $10 million because you threw the franchise tag, non-exclusive franchise tag on Saquon Barkley. That's $50 million. Now you got 2 stud edge rushers, okay, which down the line are going to want to get paid. Now, Azeez, this will be his 3rd season coming up. So they can extend after this season's over with. I don't know if they're going to want to because he keeps getting injured, but anyway. But if you start looking at some of these edge rushers getting paid, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Giants aren't, T.J. Watt and Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, Khalil Mack, Max Crosby. I mean, they don't have anybody like that. But you go a couple of years from now, I mean, I better say T.J. Watt's like at $28 million. Joey Bosa. I mean, some of these guys are making, Von Miller's making $20 million. Bradley Chubb is 22. Max Crosby's at 23. Khalil Mack. I mean, what's Kayvon going to want? Right? I mean, the Giants might have to franchise tag him or pick up his 5th-year option. All right. But when say they pick up his 5th-year option. Okay. So he's had 1. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4 more years. And then maybe they'll sign him to a contract in 5 years. So if T.J. Watt's getting paid $28 million, what's Kayvon going to want in 5 years from now, right? He's not T.J. Watt. I don't think he's ever going to be T.J. Watt. But, if T.J. Watt's getting paid $28 million now, what's Kayvon going to want? I mean, at least probably 25, right? Possibly 30, right? Say Azeez Ojulari, say he's going to want to get paid. Say for some unbelievable reason that somehow the guys can stay healthy like he did maybe his rookie season, okay? He stays healthy. Say he has a couple good years and he really, really does well. I mean, what's he going to want? 20? Right? I mean, so now you're going to get like $20 million, 20 for maybe say for Azeez, maybe 25 for Kayvon. So there's $45 million. So now as I'm saying, so you're looking at like Daniel Jones getting 40, right? Say Saquon's got 10. Say you got $45 million between Kayvon and Azeez. I'm just throwing numbers out there. That's all. But that's almost $100 million for 4 guys. Okay. Then we go to let's go to the tackles. Okay. I mean, what do you think Andrew Thomas is going to want? I mean, because the salary cap's supposed to go up to over $250 million next year. Salary caps just keep going to go up. And, of course, as soon as the cap goes up, everybody's salary wants to go up too, right? It's not like, the left tackle goes up just a little bit each year. No, if the cap goes up, the cap went up $25 million. So I want at least another $3 or $4 million because the cap went up, right? But Trent Williams is making 23. Bakhtiari's making 23. Laramie Tunzel's making 22. Ron Stanley's making almost 20, right? I mean, when it comes time for Andrew Thomas, I mean, they'll probably pick up his 5th-year option, right? And then maybe try to extend him or whatever. What's he going to want? 20 to 25? What's Evan Neal going to want? And, pick up his 5th-year option. I mean, it's, same thing. The nice thing about picking up, Kayvon's 5th-year option and then picking up Evan Neal's 5th-year option. Okay. So that's good. So I'll save the Giants a little bit of money. But if you're going to want to re-sign him into decent-sized contracts, as I said, so you're going to have like maybe Andrew Thomas won 2025 and Evan Neal say maybe making 20. So there's another $45 million, possibly even more between your 2 tackles, right? So between your 2 tackles, your 2 edge rushers, you're looking at probably $90 to $100 million for just 4 guys. Then you got Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. It's like $150 million between 6 guys, okay? Then we go to say Xavier McKinney. Now, I don't think he's going to ever get to the top of the top of the top. Derwin James is making $19 million. Minka Fitzpatrick's making 18. Jamal Adams, 17. Harrison Smith's making 16. Justin Simmons making 15. So I mean, I don't think he's going to be breaking the bank, but I can see him certainly working his way, trying to get into the top maybe 5 or so, whatever, especially in a year or so. So he might want 10 or 15 if his hand heals and everything. Sure. Oh, absolutely. So I mean, there's 160. So with him in there, if you re-sign him, now you're looking at like maybe 160, 165 million for those guys, right? Then you go to the interior line. What's Sexy Dexy going to want? I mean, Aaron Donald's making 31. Of course, ain't nobody making that, right? But Leonard Williams is averaging 21. What's Sexy Dexy going to want? 20, right? And you still got Leonard Williams. You might extend his contract for another couple of years, try to bring his salary, $32 million salary cap down. So, if you sign him out for another couple of years, what's he going to want to make, on average, like 20, 15, 20, right? And as I said, Sexy Dexy, what's he going to want? 20, right? So now between your 2 interior defensive tackles, your safety, all right, your quarterback, your running back, and your 2 tackles and your 2 edge rushers, there's almost $200 million that you got. $200 million for just those guys. So that gives you, like, if we're a couple years into the future, that give you like maybe $60 million or so for the rest of the team. You got to have 53 guys plus your practice squad guys. You got to sign your draft class, right? And then say we want to sign a stud wide receiver, a number 1 wide receiver. We're already dishing out $200 million to those other guys. That's good. Tyreek Hill, he's making $30 million. Devontae Adams making 28. DeAndre Hopkins 27. People want to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Give up like a 2nd and a 5th or a 3rd and a 5th or whatever for DeAndre Hopkins. And his salary's at like $27 million. Cooper Kupp's making almost $27 million. AJ Brown's making 25. Stephon Diggs making 24. DK Metcalf's making 24. Deebo Samuel's almost 24. McLaurin's making 23. So we want to bring in a stud wide receiver for about $20 or $25 million. So that's why it's so important. Because, I mean, what Joe Shane said, he wants to draft well, okay, build his team with the draft pick, build with the draft, sign your picks, okay, and maybe sprinkle in a little bit of free agents here and there, okay. But, when you keep getting these low draft picks and they wind up hitting, okay, when you got to pay the piper, it's going to get very, very expensive. And the thing is that, the salary, as I say, obviously is going to keep going up. But the problem is it never, that the salaries don't like stay, right? Like if the top guard is making $15 million, well, the salary cap jumps up $30 million. Well, now I want $19 million. Why? You're only making 15, because the salary cap goes up. It doesn't stay that, it doesn't go up little bit, like each year a salary only goes up like, 3% or 4%, like a normal person's salary. You might get a raise from your boss for 3%. Well, that's not the way it works in the NFL. The salary cap goes up, the salaries go up, right? So you're going to see some of these salaries are going to start blowing stuff out. It's going to, the edge rushers and the wide receivers are making over $30 million. I mean, sometimes, you got to start, thinking, do I want one edge rusher for $35 million or do I want, I mean, you could get 2 good edge rushers for 17.5. So it's, some of these guys might be pricing themselves out of some of them might be pricing themselves out of, out of competition. I mean, some of the stuff that, I mean, but a lot of it's going to depend, obviously, with Daniel Jones. He's going to want it being huge. The greedier he wants to be, the worse he's going to want it making him. I mean, if we have to put a franchise tag on him, we won't be able to sign Saquon. And it's all because of him. I understand you want to get your money and this, that, and the other thing, but it's like, if they give you $40 million, $40 million is a lot of money. I get it. You've earned this and that, but you're going to make more money than like my whole town is, 1 year. It's a lot of money, and it's just not 1 year. I mean, you're making $40 million for multiple years, I wish some of these guys would really, I understand you want to get your money and all that, but, wish, why don't you leave some for the team, the team around you, it's just not a one-man sport. This is the ultimate sport, football, right? You need a team around you. And Daniel Jones ain't doing it all by himself. So I hope he pulls his head out of his ass and, decides to, to take, obviously not a team-friendly, deal. I'm not saying that, but something where the team can start building around them, right? Then it also sort of was a five cornerbacks that the Giants could target in free agency. There's the five, and there's also Jalen Ramsey, who the Rams are trying to trade, I believe. I don't know what they want in return for him. Is it a first rounder or is it a second round? I'm not exactly sure, but his cap hit is not that much. I mean, what I saw was like $17 million, which is not, of course, if they have to franchise tag Daniel Jones, you can forget about anybody like that. I mean, you really pretty much forget about bringing anybody in like Jalen Ramsey or anybody or a wide receiver or anything like that. But there was this article here I saw from Fansided, G-Men HQ, I guess it is. Yeah, but it's Fansided. 5 cornerbacks in New York Giants should target in free agency this offseason. Now, obviously, one of them is Fabian Moreau. Okay. Now, he had his ups and downs. When he was a number 2 cornerback, he did very, very well. They got some numbers here for him. Through the first 10 games of the season, Moreau allowed 24 receptions on 44 targets, a little over 50%. He gave up 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. So basically, he gave up 31 yards a game, right? I mean, he had some very, very good games. However, in the final 7 games, a lot of it when he became like maybe the number 1 cornerback, he had to take over for Adoree Jackson, who got injured, right? He gave up on 7 games, he gave up 23 receptions on 31 targets. So he gave up almost 70% completion, right? For 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's a good, solid cornerback number 2. He only made like $750,000 last year, right? So, I mean, he would be somebody I would certainly think the Giants would certainly think about bringing back, even if he's not a starter, at least just for some good quality depth, right? I mein, if you can keep him away from being the number 1, from being the main man, I think, he's a good option, very, very good option, because, the Giants also get injuries too, right? So even if he doesn't start, he's some very, very good depth. Now, another one I got was Jonathan Jones, okay? Let's see, this is similar to Moreau. Jonathan Jones somewhat struggled toward the second half of the season. But when he was playing well to start the year, he was one of the most consistent corners in the NFL. All right. His numbers through the first 10 games were incredible. As he allowed just in first 10 games of the season last year, Jonathan Jones allowed 12 receptions on 29 targets. All right, like 40% for 172 yards. He gave up 17 yards a game and 1 touchdown. And he snagged 2 interceptions. Okay. What the hell we at here? Jonathan Jones. Oh, is this it? Okay, here we go. Now, and with him, now this is Pro Football Focus. They have him making like $6, $7, $8 million a year, right? I mean, he's 29, okay, but he's not somebody who's going to want to break in the bank on you, okay. Might be good as a number 2 cornerback, okay. Now, the Giants could draft the cornerback in the first round, right? And maybe let go of Adoree Jackson, maybe after the season, and take that draft pick that they had, who they got maybe in the first round, and make them the number 1 cornerback, okay? Rock your mama. Rock your sin, okay? Is another guy. Let's see. In 11 games with the Raiders last season, Rock your sin allowed 31 receptions. So about like 3 catches a game on 53 targets, okay? So that's 60%, right? For 323 yards. So he's allowing like 30 yards a game receiving, okay? He only allowed 45 yards in a game and 3 times. And he only gave up more than 4 receptions in a game 1 time, Okay. I mean, he's very, very good. Let me see. What do they got him at? This is just projected what they think. Let's see, maybe $9 million a year. He's 26. He'll be 27 when next year starts, but $9 million a year as a number 2 cornerback, that would be a very solid pick. He had a very good year last year for the Raiders. All right. Then we got, let's see, James Bradbury. Okay. Very, very good year last year. But once again, he was probably like the number 2 cornerback because they had Darius Slay as the number 1. Okay. Bradbury had let's see, what the hell was he got here? 17 games. He allowed 40 freaking receptions, but a little over 2 receptions a game on 87 targets. So under 50%. Okay. For 429 yards to 17. He gave like 25 yards a game, 2.5 receptions a game for like 25 yards a game, and only 2 touchdowns all year. And he snagged 3 interceptions and broke up 12 passes. Okay. Okay. 23.8 yards per game. All right. I mean, but he was like the number 2 cornerback. Okay. If you had to thrust him into the number 1 cornerback position, okay, obviously he would struggle a little bit more, without question. Now, PFF has him at 2 years at $12 million a year. Okay, so that's not something that would break the bank. But once again, if Daniel Jones gets franchise tag, you could probably almost forget about bringing somebody like James Bradbury in. You can almost forget about that. But I mean, Bradbury said he wouldn't mind coming back to the Giants, right? And I said, I mean, if the Giants drafted a cornerback in the first round and you had Bradbury and Adoree Jackson, you're good. I mean, you can even let Adoree Jackson go after this season, save yourself some money because he's almost like $20 million a year, right? Take your draft pick, right? You maybe put him as the cornerback number 1, put James Bradbury, keep him as cornerback number 2, right? And you'd be okay, right? Not that you're going to keep Bradbury forever, but right, it will give you some options. But I mean, Bradbury wouldn't be a bad choice either. He had a very, very good year last year for the Giants, especially for the Eagles, especially if you keep him at a number 2 cornerback. Okay, and then finally, Cameron Sutton. Now, what the hell? Now, I tell you what, he's not projected. PFF, once again, 3 years, $8.5 million a year. Okay, he graded out very, very well. What the hell we got here? Cameron Sutton will most recently play with the Steelers, right? Sutton showcases immense talent and potentially earn himself a pretty nice contract for the foreseeable future. So he might wind up being more than, the 8 or 9 million. He might go into the double digits, but who knows? But in 16 games with the Steelers last season, Sutton allowed 36 receptions on 72 targets. So basically 50% completion percentage, which is phenomenal. 16 games, he allowed like a little over 2 receptions a game for 411 yards. So basically like 25 yards, 2 receptions a game for 25 yards. He gave up 4 touchdowns, all right? But he snagged 3 interceptions and he broke up 8 passes, okay? He allowed over 45 yards in a game just 2 times, and he never gave up a reception of 35 yards or more, all right? And he only gave up more than 4 receptions in a game just 2 times. Okay, he says Sutton is projected to make around $8.5 million a season for the next contract, according to PFF. Okay, so it says this sort of a deal would be an absolute steal for the Giants if they manage to bring him in, right? So I mean, the Giants, there certainly are, without question, there's some cornerbacks out there. I mean, if the Giants, if they go to Wink, what do we need, Wink? If Wink said we need a cornerback, they got options. I mean, if the Daniel Jones thing falls through, okay, and they have to franchise tag him, put the non-exclusive franchise tag on him, right, and then maybe have to let Saquon go, they're not going to have much money to be bringing in, a super-duper stud cornerback. I mean, they might be able to bring in, because, they're talking about they're going to try to maybe bring back Feliciano or Gates, or maybe we're talking about Fabian Moreau, but Darius Slayton, Richie James. I can go on and on and on. It's Fabian Moreau, but if they have to franchise Daniel Jones, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to bring in somebody real super, good cornerback, right? But if that falls through, then they have options, especially in the first round, because there's supposed to be, I heard, anywhere from 6 to 8 cornerbacks that might have first round grades. So if a couple of cornerbacks, the Giants are picking at 25, but 2 or 3 or 4 even go before the Giants pick at 25. They'll have, whoever falls to them, there might be a couple more cornerbacks that the Giants could certainly snag, right? And add to their arsenal of cornerbacks. Now, as I said, because they're probably going to need, I don't know what they plan on doing with Adoree Jackson. Don't know. But I mean, if they can grab themselves a cornerback for this year, but at first round and keep the guy for 5 years, right? You know, have control of him for 5 years, right? Maybe make him their number one cornerback. Maybe let Adoree Jackson go. Save yourself some money, right? Because you're not re-signing Adoree Jackson. And then maybe draft somebody else, you know. Maybe Aaron Robinson can stay healthy for a year. Who knows? But, you know, they're going to need cornerback help without question. I mean, so whether they can get it in the free agency this year, or if they don't get one in the first round, they can always grab one a little bit later in the draft just for maybe some depth, right? But without question, this year the Giants can certainly do something to help themselves out in the cornerback department. As I said, if they can't do it in free agency because Daniel Jones has to get franchise tagged, then they can do it in the draft. So, but you know, so all's not lost. I mean, they can certainly help themselves because they're going to need. I really think they're going to need cornerback help, without question, because I don't know if they're going to want to re-sign Adoree Jackson after the season's over with, right? But it's been 41 minutes. Anybody spent any time at all watching any of this? Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It really means the world to me. You guys absolutely rock. Or if anybody spent any time at all watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. It really does. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.